Good old-fashioned Test cricket at the Adelaide Oval. Tea time on day 2, and it's a similar pattern to how the first session went. After Australia managed to take that final India wicket of the first ball of the day, they got 2 for 57 in the first session. They've got 2 for 60 in the second. Peter Handscomb and Travis Head are gritting it out, battling it out, while Ravichandran Ashwin bowled predominantly one entire end of that middle session of play. So let's ask VVS Lakshman, Ajit Agarkar and Brad Hodge where this game stands. Attritional Test cricket, VVS still in the balance, or can we say one team's ahead of the other?
I just feel that Team India is a little bit ahead of at this moment, because they recognize batsmen, especially Usman Khwaja and Shaun Marsh, two experienced batsmen. Post lunch is supposed to be the best time to bat, and both of them got out immediately after lunch. Yes, this partnership is just blossoming, two youngsters, but they look tentative. It was not a dominating knock from both of them. Credit to the Indian bowlers, especially Ashwin. What we talked about, his role, and he's done well. Post shots from the experienced batsmen as well. I think what will be important to see is how the pitch will pan out, because it's become slower and slower. I think shot making will become difficult, and also there's a rough patch for the off spinner. So whether it's for Ashwin or for Nathan Lyon, I think that rough patch will become more and more helpful as the match progresses.
So that slowness is benefiting India a little. Harder to play shots for Australia.
Yes, it will be harder to play shots for Australia. And if you see the batting strength of Australia, they don't have the ability to rotate the strikes, and that's something which I think it will benefit India, because they, as the match progresses, it will become much and much slower. And the last innings in this Test match, Australia has to play. So I think that's why I just feel that this match is still in the balance, but I think India a little ahead.
You'd go with that?
Yeah, possibly. Good partnership this though. Good sort of fighting partnership. You could see, if you look at that batting lineup, there is an obvious lack of quality when India's bowler. Ashwin's had a huge day. I think finally kept a lot of patience, and whatever the variations have been either pace or the length, not so much what comes out of his fingers sometimes, and that's helped India keep control in that game. I mean, those two big wickets after lunch has helped their cause. I mean, Khwaja was the only guy who kind of looked like he could battle through the day. Handscomb and Head have battled, but you always feel there's a wicket around the corner. India will have to keep chipping away.
Now, for a man who's coached R. Ashwin, and we spoke of all his many variations and the tricks and toys that he likes to pull out, it's been a good classical session of off-spin bowling. How do you rate R. Ashwin in that session, Haji?
He was outstanding. He did exactly what he was asked to do by his captain. He put pressure on batsmen. He created opportunities. He drew the false shots. There was plenty of chances, and he kept it tight from one end and let the quicks operate from another. I thought he was outstanding for his captain in his country.
What about that wicket of Shaun Marsh early on? Sort of kept India alive and got their tail up early in that session, and I don't think that would have been the brightest shot you've seen.
No, it wasn't ideal, was it? We've certainly seen some rash cricket shots in this game. On such a placid batting wicket, actually, we've seen some guys throw it away, and that was probably one error from Shaun Marsh straight after the break, which was a critical loss for Australia, and then that sort of allowed India to get on top, and then they stunted the run progress of Usman Khwaja, and they just got on top and got some wickets and dominated the session.
If I add about 4 or 5 from the first innings with India, and Aaron Finch and Shaun Marsh, that's 7 top-order batsmen that are just throwing it away, and what still I think you would say is a pretty good pitch to bat on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no demons at all on the wicket. And this is not a typical Australian wicket. Yeah. Even though Adelaide is not supposed to be the quickest, but still the ball comes onto the bat. You can trust the pace, you can trust the bounce. But here the ball is not coming onto the bat.
Especially on the second day of a test.
Second day of the test. First 3 days of the test are the best, because even when India played last time in 2014, as the match progressed, there was more help for the spinners. Nathan Lyon exploited that brilliantly, but it was a beautiful batting wicket. So as a batsman, you'll be really disappointed start of the series if you throw away or gift away the wicket. It was a great opportunity for Shaun Marsh, Usman Khwaja, someone like Finch, or the Indian batsmen, to stamp their authority, just like the way Pujara did yesterday.
The first 4-5 sessions of a big series, and bowlers tend to think, how this series is going to pan out. I think you'd be happy as a bowler in this series, even on a flat pitch. Batsmen seem to be giving you enough gifts.
Yeah, I think both they've just not batted well in this game. Like Lakshman saying, you know, it's there's no real demons in the pitch. Yeah, there's been some good, steady quality bowling, but if you're playing at the Test level, you should be able to counter that and play differently in different sessions, which unfortunately both batting lineups haven't managed to do, except for Pujara. I thought the partnership right now with Hanscom and Head was really good, because, you know, in spite of being under pressure, we've seen sometimes if you don't quite trust your defense, you can then try and attack the bowler unnecessarily, which they've resisted doing. So they're fighting hard, but India seems to be in control at the moment.
Quick word on Sean Marsh, and I can see a lot of Australian journalists a bit asking some tough questions now on why someone like Joe Burns was left out or Renshaw left out, but Sean Marsh continues to get the runs. The enigma that Sean Marsh is, Brad Hodge, so good to watch. You think he should walk into any side, any format, and yet the runs have dried up this year. Single figure scores in his last 8 innings. How long does this keep happening with Sean Marsh? In and out, but because he looks the way he is, he just keeps going.
Well, I mean, he's 35 now, and the issues that we have is, how long do you progress? I think with Sean, what you see is what you get. He averages around 35, 40 in first-class cricket. So to come to Test match cricket and expect any better is wrong. He's an elegant player. He's a lovely-looking player, but the facts are we needed him today, and we needed a result, and he didn't get there. So he'll come under some scrutiny for sure.
Very well. Let's scrutinize the two off-spinners, because we tend to get into these comparisons with Ashwin and Lyon. Now, we'll just compare lines first, right? Because that's something that Nathan Lyon tends to do. You can literally make one spot and have Nathan Lyon bowl there all day. Let's just compare how they've gone about it. Ashwin getting the wicket of Sean Marsh with a wider ball. Now, outside of Lyon, 67% of the lines bowled in this match. Ashwin, 60%. So, Ashwin's been a lot straighter, VVS. Just looking at those numbers, tends to suggesting that he's targeted the stumps more than Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, because Nathan Lyon, whenever he bowls to Indian batsmen, he tends to bowl off stump, outside the off stump.
Yeah.
even when they came to India.
Just one thing though, could be a lot of left-handers that he's bowled
so
to as well.
the
So
lines
that
are
naturally is in the stumps.
But even to a right-hander, Nathan Lyon knows that anything on the stumps, Indian batsmen are very risky. They can work the ball on the onside very easily compared to an Australian batsman or any other foreign batsman. And what he always tends to do when he's bowling against a Indian batsman is make them play through the covers. And also the trajectory he bowls, which is a flattest trajectory compared to an Ashwin, and also he bowls at a quicker pace than Ashwin. And that's why I think the length at which Nathan Lyon bowls is very, very effective, and that's why we saw yesterday that the Indian batsmen didn't want him to settle down, didn't want him to get into that rhythm, and they were using their feet. Even though they were not playing the big shots, they were using their feet, including Pujara, just to negate that length and allowing him to settle down in a rhythm.
Now, looking at the lengths, if you compare Lyon and Ashwin, 3 wickets for our Ashwin in that session. It's been a very good start to this series, as he did in England too at Edgbaston. Percentage of lengths, we're looking at a full length, 18%, a good, that's the difference, 18 versus 5, Ajit, when we look at Ashwin v Lyon.
Yeah, but again, 3 left-handers that is gotten out. So you will bowl differently to a left-hander against a right-hander. I mean, if anything, I thought Nathan Lyon was in the stumps a lot more than lot more yesterday. There was lots of runs scored towards square leg or mid-wicket, lots of singles taken. So I was a bit surprised that
again, I think it's the whole right-left-hander thing, the line you will bowl naturally.
No, but I mean, Ashwin's just bowled what needed to be done, particularly. I think the variation of pace has been really good. Not really let batsmen, get to the pitch of the ball or afforded them time to go back. So, very consistent, especially bowling such a long spell through the course of the day. So, then India needed that effort, and he's given them exactly what they need.
Let's have a look at those at something that we saw on Twitter as far as the pace goes when it comes to Ravichandran Ashwin. It's been a good time, and Freddie Wild tends to dig these up when it comes to data and whatnot in cricket. That's what we've got. Slower than 87 k's per hour. The last tour to Australia, 54%, and today 75%. So he has slowed it down, our Ashwin. And full balls a lot more than the last time, so there seems to be a significant improvement. I should go to the only off spinner on this panel, Brad Hodge. Maybe he can tell us.
I was
what about Lakshman?
Oh, should I count?
Please don't underestimate.
I'm amazed you want to bring that in. Yeah, okay.
No, he's got it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go to the Australian off-spinner on this in Brad Hodge. A lot slower. How has that posed a challenge to the Australian batsman, Hodgie?
Well, it's allowed them to not dictate terms. I think the change of pace for Ashwin's been one which he's learned from the past and know that you have to draw the batsman forward of the crease, and I think he's done that very well. We haven't seen too many boundaries scored off him as well. The only person using the feet is Peter Hanscom, so I think we'll see a few more edges and a few more bat pads come into play the more the game goes on. I think he's adjusted, perfectly well to the conditions.
I think also there's a difference in the quality of the batsmen last time around, because last time they were better players of spin bowling in the Australian batting lineup, more experience, and all the Australian batsmen on show today are very, very tentative. And also the wicket is slow. So what he's trying to do is deceive them in the flight, force them to play on the rise, or play this lavish drive, and that's what Ashwin is trying to do. And it's great to see the consistency, because sometimes, as Ajit mentioned during the lunch break, was that because he's got so many variations up his sleeve, he tends to use them too often. Sure. Whereas what he has done, you told about the Birmingham, or even today, he's relied a lot on the off spinners, but he varied his pace, not so much his line or length.
I mean, with Stark and Ishant, Stark bowling over the stumps and Ishant around the stumps, I think both Nathan Lyon and Ashwin are going to have a good time in this series if it keeps happening. I know Ashwin's bowled a lot to the left-handers today, but already there's a big patch of rough outside the right-handers off stump.
Which you would think would only make things more interesting in the third and fourth innings. So, and Australia will bat fourth on this. Ashwin didn't play Adelaide last time too, when Nathan Lyon got heaps of wickets. So, put that into perspective when you look at numbers from 2014 and 2018. Questions coming now for our panel on our live matchday feed. Let's pick some of them from Chirant Krishna Kumar. Why not play Kuldeep? Him and Ashwin would be a deadly combo. I get the larger point. If you see your spinner bowl well on day 1 or day 2, you tend to think the team should have picked an extra spinner, which is what you played him for. But would that have been wise?
No, I don't think so. In Australian conditions, if Hardik Pandya would have been there, who will be your third seamer, then you can understand, going with two
still
spinners.
Having 5 bowlers.
Yes, because in Australian condition, you still have a lot of faith in the fast bowlers.
Is it as simple for a layman to say they should be reading?
If you could change the team on the second day, maybe you
Why
could.
not? But what's the risk in playing the second spinner? We were talking about what's the risk if you don't know how the pitch is going to play?
You lose the toss, you bowl first. I don't think India, with the way they've batted, can afford to play 5 batters anymore. Unless they really improve, the top order improves their consistency and does support Virat whilst batting, they'll have to play that extra batter. And when you play that extra batter in overseas conditions, unless it's spun a lot more than everyone thought, or not spun a lot, but there is help for the spinner on the second day itself. We didn't think that would be the case.
But there are times that it may not spin, and then it looks like it might spin, it doesn't, and then someone like Jadeja
it's still a good pitch. I mean, you can at least have your 3 seamers. There is something on offer if you bowl well, and all 3 seamers have done a good job as well. So no, I don't think 2 spinners is the way to go.
Okay, what else have we got? Good to have your questions and comments coming in. It is a weekday and you're still watching the show. So well done, Srinivas Balakrishnan. Why isn't Bumrah bowling Yorkers in Test cricket? Okay, Ajit Agarkar, all yours.
It's a tough ball to bowl. No, I think I'm sure he'll try it at some stage as the ball gets older. Maybe there's a little bit of reverse, or even if there's a little bit of tail, something happening. Yeah, I think it's worth a try though, because he can get it full and fast. It is something. I'm trying to think if he's bowled any in this session. I can't think of. I think there's a lot more good length. It's a good point. It's especially at 117 for 4.
Yeah.
You can almost gamble on a couple of boundaries going, even if you don't get it right. But that's a ball that he should try.
Especially to Hanscom. Because he stays leg side of the ball. We saw him miss almost a full toss.
From Ishant Sharma.
Yeah, so I think someone like Bumrah who bowls consistently above 140 kilometers per hour, and that's very effective, and he can bowl that with control. But I still feel that we have not seen the best of Bumrah till now. He's just trying to get his rhythm, right, trying to get his line and length right, and more confidence he gets, he'll probably bowl that wicket-taking. That's a wicket-taking option.
Sure. And it's the first test in Jasprit Bumrah. It's his first bowling innings in Australia. So let's see how things pan out. Speaking of Peter Handscomb, the third question comes for him. He did miss one of Ishant, like VVS points out. Jiten Chandrana, is Handscomb's stance one of the strangest in Test cricket? Now, I did see the images, if you are watching visuals of this too, Brad Hodge, of the comparison between Steve Smith and him, at least in the build-up to when he gets ready and gets into his stance, the backlift, etc. Would you answer that question? The strangest in Test cricket?
It's certainly not visually attractive, is it? His stance. So I guess for him, it's his own technique. I think that's one thing you have to understand, that that's the way he's probably developed his technique, and he feels that he works for him. We've sort of critiqued it here, and maybe the Steve Smith methodology has come into play, and he's tried to emulate that a little bit. But they're two different players. But he stands deep in his crease to try and give himself some extra time and later time to play the ball. You can, the thing is, you just have to watch your ball and trust your techniques and trust your abilities to make the right decisions. What's been bowled down to you.
Now, Peter Handscomb has a few decisions to make. He's on his way out already. Quick look at our Fab 4 results. Now remember, our Fab 4 are the 4 players that VVS, Ajit and Brad pick, and depending on how they do on the day, they get points, runs, wickets, bonuses if they get 50s, 100s, 3 wickets or 5 wicket hauls. Ajit is not going to have a big day today.
I thought you had forgotten about that.
Yeah, no, I've not forgotten about it. Mohammad Shami has not got him any wickets yet, unless Shami runs through, as he tends to. He tends to have hot sessions and cold sessions. But Ajit's still in the 30s. VVS Lakshman had picked Ravichandran Ashwin, which is a good investment to make on this day. So VVS's points would be on their way up, especially in that session where Ashwin managed to get him 3 wickets. So now we're at 90 points. So Lakshman in the 90s. And you've already decided this is your strategy now. Always pick bowlers.
Bowlers. Strategy. As the test series progresses, you know what's the best strategy.
Yeah.
What's your best strategy?
Well, I know who not to pick.
Yeah,
most of the Aussie batsmen.
Something tells me Aaron Finch is not going to get selected by you for the series now. Brad Hodge, how's he doing? Quick look at him. Now, he also picked a couple of guys that are dismissed. Marcus Harris is dismissed, but Peter Handscomb is getting him some points, and Ashwin's got him some points, so that's a good investment. 120 points almost for Brad Hodge, and he can add to that if Bumrah, Ashwin get wickets or if Handscomb gets runs. You're in the lead, Hodgie. Prediction whether you'll stay in the lead towards the end of the day?
I'm wrapped.
It's very unfair. It's very unfair that the Victorians are helping the Victorians.
VVS says it's unfair that the Victorians are helping the Victorians. That's what we've got so far.
It's a good thing it's not carried forward.
Yeah. We're just looking at that. Very well. We'll pick things up at stumps. Many thanks to VVS, Ajit and Brad Hodge. Join us then. Big session of play coming up to dictate the course of this test match. We'll see you for all the analysis on ESPNcricinfo Match Day. Download the mobile app to stay up to date with ball by ball updates and the live report from this final session.